Welcome to my video on how to sit the trot. For me it's all about being dynamically balanced and effective rather than just stationary in the saddle. Start by relaxedly following and allowing the supple swing of the horse's back, and then as you get more confident, develop more influence over the horse's way of going. First exercise for improving your sitting trot and developing a sitting trot from the beginning is when you're walking, is to be able to open the thigh away from the saddle, to be able to loosen the hip. I have rheumatoid arthritis, so I don't have a great deal of control in my lower leg. The knee joints are busted and the ankles are busted, and I have deterioration in my hips. So if you were actually with me on the horse, you would hear my hip joints crack in and out as the horse moves. But you need to have that fluid movement in the hip, in the pelvis, to be able to sit the trot. One of the first things I do when I get on the horse is I move my hips. I open my knees and then I open my ankles away so that I can twist my hips both ways. The movement of the sitting trot is similar to being on a cross trainer or a elliptical exercise machine, where you're moving it backwards. So the horse's entire movement in the sitting trot it's up, down, side to side, and it also has a backwards and forwards dynamic. But as the horse brings the hind leg forward under the body, that side drops down and goes under your seat. So it's like you're pedaling backwards. So the side that's up is the side that's got the leg about to push away, and the side that is the horse's hind leg is moving forward and under is the side that's dropped. First, before we even think about riding the sitting trot, we need to get the horse and rider loose, get all our hips moving and really well warmed up. I like to ride rising trot with a half long neck, and then once the horse is starting to flow a bit more freely, we go into some lateral work. Gentle leg yields help to get the hind legs up underneath the body and lift the back. You can see how she's really starting to swing through the back, and that's going to give me somewhere really good to sit. Then I like to put the horse up into canter using a light seat. This again helps to lift and mobilise the back. Once I put my bum back into the saddle, I like to alternate my hands forward and back to check my self-carriage as well as the horse's self-carriage, to make sure neither of us are leaning on each other. This independence is really important when we start sitting the trot. Once we're all warmed up, I start riding the sitting trot. I like to go from walk into trot through the transition sitting so that I can follow the change in the undulations of the horse's back. I ride my horse in a slightly lower frame so that I have a softer back to sit to, and I can keep the lift through the back underneath my seat. I don't want too much power at this point because I don't want to be jet propelled out of the saddle. I just want to be able to follow a soft back with my own soft hips. I keep repeating these transitions and I keep finding the new movement underneath my seat. This helps to plug me into the horse's rhythm. Once I feel that I've got that, I then move my arms around independent of my seat. This checks my self-carriage and it checks the horse's self-carriage. It mimics the work on the lunge that a rider might do. Obviously it's more convenient to be able to do this for a couple of minutes each day rather than having to have a lunge lesson each time you want to practice your own independence of seat. You can see my seat doesn't change even though my arms and my upper body are moving around. Once this independence is established and I'm following the horse's movement, I want to start having more of an influence. For this I ride small lateral movements like shoulder 4. They help the rider ride rather than just sitting on the horse, and it increases the dynamic usefulness of the seat. As I feel more connected with the horse, more plugged in, I start to ride smaller circles and changes of direction. These help to increase the swing and engagement of my horse, so I then have to start to ride a slightly bigger movement through the hip. I'm also now directing the horse's body with my seat more rather than just following the movement as he goes along. If at any time I feel I'm losing my balance or I'm losing my connection with the horse's back and it's all starting to go a bit wrong, I do a walk transition, regroup, loosen my legs, and then we go back up into trot once everything's nice. By now we're starting to get a really nice connection between the two backs, her back and my back. I'm now able to ride with a far more engaged horse and a more advanced frame. We're starting to ride a little bit more demanding lateral work, including the shoulder in. And I'm starting also to ride transitions within the pace. You can see here we're going to go for a little bit of medium trot. This is going to really test how much my hips can swing. And then I've got to control my hips as I bring her back to a more collected trot again. Once we've got the walk-trot transitions and the trot-walk transitions and the transitions within the pace and also riding the lateral working trot really well secured, I start to ride canter-trot canter transitions. These really test your seat because you're going from the 3-time slightly crab-like movement of the canter, which has a diagonal dynamic, to the trot rhythm of 1-2, 1-2, with the feeling of being on a cross trainer. So your hips have to feel for when the horse is going to change that rhythm and then follow, but also influence, so you increase the engagement through those transitions. As you can see with this horse, the first few are a bit ropey, and then as we've got more and more plugged into each other, the quality of the trot between the canter transitions improved massively, and she became really engaged and really supple through her back. It's quite a challenge for the rider to not fall forward in the downward transition. You have to really use your core and breathe deep into your hips and into your pelvis, so you stick yourself down through the saddle with an open, relaxed seat through the transition. If you close your thigh too much in the transition, you'll pinch and then the horse will stop dead if it's trained to work for your seat. So you need to keep the horse moving forward through the transition and keep your seat very soft so you can feel that change of dynamic going on underneath your butt. For me, I think it's very important that you develop the sitting trot as a useful exercise rather than just sitting like a mannequin. I think being able to ride these transitions probably improves the effectiveness quicker than just going sitting trot round and round. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you next time.